In this video, we're going to introduce the PNP Bipolar Junction Transistor to this video series. We're using the 2N3906. This is the pin layout. If you're using a different transistor, make sure you check the data sheet to check its pin layout. But in case we have the emitter to the left, base in the middle, and collector to the right. So being a transistor has the basic property of the signal at the base, a voltage, and in this case a current determines how well the transistor conducts right there. So you use a weak signal to control a more power hungry circuit. Here's a closer look at the schematic. You'll often see it drawn this way when you see the schematic. It has an arrow like the NPN, but the arrow now is pointing in instead of out, which it was with the NPN. The arrow side is the emitter, without the arrow is the collector, and then base over here where we get our control. So since the PNP bipolar junction transistor, the emitter is more positive, it will usually be on the higher side right there with a schematic drawing. So left pin was the emitter. We saw that before when it comes to the 2N3906. So we're going to swivel it clockwise right there. Emitter going to the positive supply, base to where our signal is, and collector to where our load is. And there you can see even my finger can provide a weak signal to get the LED to light a little bit, making the transistor conduct a little bit. Over here I drew a schematic where the circuit is in the off state. There's no current flow, 0 milliamps from emitter to base right there because it's got to go to ground. You can see we got the negative supply on the other side of the switch. We have to close the switch, get a little emitter to base current flowing to get the collector to emitter current flowing. So to help illustrate that, I showed the circuit with the push button being pressed right there and the LED being on. So we have about 0.7 volt drop from emitter to base right there. And so with the 10,000 ohm resistor, about half of a milliamp of current approximately is flowing from emitter to base. Not much to light an LED, but since we're using bipolar junction transistor, 100 to 200, maybe 300 times as much current can flow from emitter to collector. That is going through the signal. But the load is what is limiting the current now. So we just have to have the transistor provide at least about 20 milliamps in this case. 150 ohm resistor. It's a little low, but the bare minimum you could use, usually I use 220 to protect an LED. We're going to get about 20 milliamps of current. The transistor will be saturated, turned on fully. So, in any case, that's it. I hope you enjoyed.